All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. As usual, not my normal setup, but let's do this because I got to talk about things. We got big developments today, big developments actually, that I saw and I went, oh, well, I know exactly what this means. And we're going to be talking about Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor 3 being essentially a certainty at this point, all right? Now, if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell, tell your friends. Now, how could I make a statement like that, right? There hasn't been any announcements about that, right? Or have there, right? You got to read between the lines. Very simple to do in this situation, okay? So Dustin Poirier said, go ahead and let Oliveira and Michael Chandler fight for the belt, he said. Let them fight for the belt. That's fine. I'll take a step back, okay? Why would he do that? He's not retiring. He didn't say that he was retiring. What he's saying is, I have a gigantic money fight with Conor, the Trilogy, and I'm going to sit and take that paycheck, okay? If he goes and he fights for the belt, I know he says, oh, I want the belt, whatever. But the bottom line is this. It's about the glory, sure. But it's also about the pay because you get you get a piece of the back end when you have the belt, okay? He knows that when he fights Conor this time, he's going to do a Nate Diaz type deal, right? First Nate Diaz fight, he got $500,000. Second Nate Diaz fight, after he beat Conor the first time, he got $10 million, okay? Based on the number of pay-per-views that they sold. Okay, so right now, Dustin Poirier, he knows exactly how many pay-per-views got sold when he fought Conor. This time, he got $1.50 per buy. He's going to get a lot more next time. So he's sitting there and he's like, okay, so the rematch will probably do around the same amount. And he's got Masvidal. He knows what Masvidal got for the Usman title fight, right? So having the belt is not mandatory to get a big payday. Okay, like he beat Conor. He knocked Conor out. Okay, he knocked him out. He didn't just beat him, he knocked him out. And it's Conor. Conor's still the biggest superstar in the sport. When they have the third fight, it's going to go bananas. It's going to be a gigantic event. Huge event. And he's going to get a big piece of the pay-per-view. And he's like, yeah, he can go fight Charles Oliveira. Is the risk of him losing worth it? Because right now, his value is at absolutely, couldn't be higher. If he goes and wins the belt, that actually won't really increase his value as it relates to a rematch with Conor. Okay, you don't get very many opportunities to have huge, gigantic money fights. Very few, right? If you're not a superstar like Conor, right? If you're in Dustin Poirier's position, this is his very first one. And try to point to anyone else who's gotten one if it wasn't Conor McGregor being involved in it, right? You got Masvidal who fought his way into it at the end of his career. And then you have guys who fought Conor and then ended up getting big money fights. Now he's that guy. He beat Conor. He's in a position to make $10 million on this next fight, and he's going to take it like a smart person. If he would have taken a fight and fought for the belt, I would have said, I would have respected it, because he's like, look, the glory is more important than the money. I'd say, okay, fine, that's fine. But I have equal respect for him saying, yeah, let them fight for the belt. I don't care. I've got this huge money fight locked up. Everybody thinks I'm the champion anyway, so they can go fight for the fake belt. And when the world knows that I'm actually the champion, and after I beat Conor again, then I'll go fight for the belt that time. That's what he's thinking. Like, I'm not saying he's necessarily going to beat Conor again. But yeah, that is the only explanation for what's going on. If he says, yeah, let them go ahead and fight for the belt, and he doesn't care, that's what's happening. He's going to fight Conor in the Trilogy, and it's going to be a massive, massive payday for him. And I respect it. I think it's a good call. Now, as it relates to, since we're on that subject, let's just talk about how Conor needs to approach that fight, because he needs, okay. One thing that I've been thinking, I know I did a bunch of videos about this, about him being a billionaire and him not having the hunger, all that stuff. That all still very much applies. But there's one other thing that I thought about too, relating, it's in the same vein, but not, so what I was saying basically is he's a billionaire. He doesn't have that same desire to just crush guys, like take their dreams, because they're not fighting for the same thing anymore, right? When they're fighting for the same thing, Conor needs to vanquish them so he can take the thing he's fighting for. Now, he's already got everything that he was fighting for, so now it's just kind of about love of the game, and you have other people that are still fighting for their dream and the bone, and they're in an advantageous position in terms of motivation and focus. That's what I was saying. But there's actually something else relating to that. So Conor's a billionaire. He's got all that. Here's the other thing, okay? One thing that people don't really talk about a lot when it comes to the Khabib fight is that he also was launching Proper 12 in that fight. And I hadn't thought about this until the last couple of days. Like, he was actually launching Proper 12. And if people think that doesn't matter, it would only be because you've never started a business, okay? It's not just like, boom, you start, like, when you have a company that's yours, it takes an immense amount of your energy and focus. The same way that a fighter fights to fight, is fighting for belts or fighting for glory, all that. You're doing the same thing in business. It's exactly the same type of thing. That's why, it's probably why I loved, building a company and why I love MMA. It's so similar to me. And when he's thinking about fighting Khabib, who we now know is the best lightweight ever. I don't think he really realized that at the time. But he's unfocused. He just had the thing, and he's also launching a brand, and he's thinking about that. He's got whiskey at the press conference, and he is distracted, thinking about the company. Now think about this last fight with Dustin. What did you notice about the buildup? Think back, okay? Besides that Conor was nice and that he was being respectful, what else did you see? Right? Had you heard that Conor McGregor owned a suit company? Did you know that McGregor suits existed? Because I didn't. I just learned that in the buildup that Conor has a suits company, right? So he's launching a suit brand at the buildup. Also, I had heard of the McGregor Fast thing, the workout company that he's doing. I had heard about that on Twitter or whatever, but I hadn't really looked into it. But he's talking a lot about that in the buildup. So again, in the Dustin buildup, he's thinking about other things. He's thinking about launching these brands. I totally understand it. That's why he loves business. It's like the reason why I understand that. I understand how much they love to fight for the same reason that I understand how much he loves the business. It is a very similar mindset, okay? He's trying to launch a brand. It's like winning a fight. It's like, boom, look, as this worked. Okay, but he's distracted, okay? You want to know what he wasn't doing for the Cowboy fight? And obviously Cowboy was not as good of an opponent, but you know what he wasn't doing? He wasn't launching a brand, okay? He was saving his life. He was saving his brand. He was saving his life, right? He had actually gotten crushed down, beaten down to where he had something to fight for and something to prove again. I can still fight. I'm still the same guy. And if I lose, I could even lose this business. So, he needs to not be launching any businesses. He needs to not be doing any of that shit. When he lost Nate Diaz, he was all distracted and cocky. And then what happened between the first fight and second fight? He locked himself and did nothing. Everybody said he did no press, nothing. Focused exclusively on training. Now, obviously, he trained very hard for Dustin, but he's launching businesses. He's distracted, etc. So I think he needs to just get back to just if you want to just do business, right? If you want to fight and you want to win, focus on that. Stop thinking about Manny Pacquiao. No more boxing. No more launching brands around fight. Launch brands, just not in conjunction with fights. Don't make the build up to a fight the vehicle that you're launching a new brand, because you're going to be distracted. Okay. Anyway, that's what I've got. So I respect Dustin's decision. I think it's a good one. I think he's going to do excellent. It's exactly that's what I would do for sure. Just for the record, that's for 100% exactly what I would do. I'd be like, yeah, let them go fight for the belt. I'm going to fight Conor, make $10 million, and then I'll go fight for the belt. So feel free. You guys have at it. Good luck. And I just stated my feelings on Conor and what he should do. So anyway, if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell and tell your motherfucking friends. Peace.